Hello, I'm Beau.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is episode 9 of Old Games Plus, first season, Imperfect Works.
Yeah.
We're going to be starting to get into the real meat of Xenogears here. Like, it's going to become, we're getting into more of the deeper subjects, things of that matter.
It's kind of like what we were talking about last time. Like, this is where, like, the game does pretty much nothing but continually ramp up everything.
So, if you're new to the show, go back and start at 1, because it's not going to make any sense. But what we're doing is we're taking video games we played as children, especially JRPGs, narrative-driven games, exploring how that affected us as children, and then going beat by beat through the narrative, how that affected us as children, how it affected us again when we went back as adults, exploring what lasting impact the game had on us.
Yeah.
And we may have spurred out of the chutes a little too strong, because I can't think of a game that did this more than Xenogears.
Yeah, Xenogears was definitely, like, probably the absolute biggest one. But I think arguments could be made, maybe in smaller ways, about other RPGs, at least guiding our tastes.
Absolutely. So if as we've stated several times before, there are plenty of podcasts who are smarter than us, smarter than you, smarter than everybody, that are going to explain what Xenogears means and everything. That is not our goal. It is what it means. It was our personal experience alone. Sorry, a little bit of a distraction there. So...
All right, so where we left off was right before Faye and Seitan were going to rescue good old Rico.
Yeah.
Rico's got himself in a pickle.
Rico is kind of a man with nothing left to lose at this point.
Yeah, very much so. And so you have to find your gear, which it's really funny because when I was playing this, I completely forgot that you had to do that. And so I couldn't figure out how to leave the gear dock for a minute. And then I remembered that you have to go over to one of the literal gear elevators and keep activating it until Waltall rotates
this was
down.
Very annoying as a child.
Yeah, because it didn't really do like do a good job of like explaining that to you. And so like I forgot. I just straight up forgot, which was really, really funny. But you grab your gear, you go out, and you get this nice little scene where Rico's basically walking through the deserty part of the battle arena. And he's just kind of moping to himself, and he starts hearing some like rumbling, and then all of a sudden he gets attacked by a Rancor, a T-Rex.
Yeah,
just like Faye
the Rancor dragon. Yeah.
Just
resident big bad guy.
Yeah, which it's really funny because like they didn't do any in-game adjusting to it. So like when you fight the one in the forest with Ellie and Faye at the beginning of the game, when Faye protects Ellie, it's like a hard fight. It's a decent fight.
Yeah.
When you fight this one here, it's super easy because the dragon is not actually tough. So like he's still like a threat to someone on their feet, but if you're in a gear, you just like smack him out of the way and it's fine.
Yeah.
But you beat him. Rico has this moment where it's like a very like Vegeta, like my pride won't accept this help kind of thing, and it's so weird too. I feel like I never caught this when I used to play the game, but in this moment, this whole segment, this is gonna be a running theme for this episode. Faye is being weird, and I mean that because when he's talking to Rico right here, he's actually interacting with Rico in the perfect way to deal with Rico. So Rico's like, "Why the hell did you come out here and save me, Faye?" And Faye's just like, "I didn't do this on purpose. Look, I just stumbled out here while trying to steal my gear. Like, it's a coincidence I came over here, bro. Like, save you,
Not everything's about you, Rico."
He's just like, "Nah, I'm just on my way over there. It's whatever."
Yeah.
And it's really weird because like Faye seems to know how to handle Rico's pride. And he's playing it off.
For someone that's been so confused and so lost this whole time, he seems to have a pretty good grasp of the psychology of social interaction at this point.
And it's almost like it's weird because like I don't know if it means that Faye is kind of like coming out of his shell pre-Lahan standards to where like he's not like suffering as much from the destruction of Lahan, or if he's just being in a weird fucking mood. But their conversation gets cut off because right then that's when the bombing raid that Gibbler launched arrives, and they witness what's going on. Seitan joins them as well and is telling Faye about how the bombing run's happening. They're destroying the town, and Faye, without even blinking, immediately jumps in his gear and is like, "I'm gonna go fight them," which is a weird character thing for Faye because up until this point, all he's done is complain about fighting, how he doesn't like doing it. But like no hesitation whatsoever, he knows he has to be the hero and he goes off to do it.
It's like he's in like I remember as a kid, you're kind of like, yes, finally. But as an adult, you kind of it doesn't not make sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense because he's starting to see the gravity of these situations. He's starting to see that like. No, this isn't a good thing. But it's the only thing I can do.
Yeah. One of the best.
Maybe there's someone out there that could bring about a peaceful resolution to this. It's like,
me.
but I'm not that smart, and in the meantime, I'm not going to let innocent people die.
Yeah, it's it's one of the things I've heard other people say, and I love this is that violence is not the answer, but it is a answer.
Right. It's it wasn't his war, man. They
it's not my war.
It wasn't my war. We were actually talking about how Stallone actually isn't a fantastic actor.
Yes.
Or at least he was, and then the paychecks just got easier.
Yeah. Then he got old. Like,
He's old.
He's like, I'm 75. I'm Stallone. If I come in, I wiggle my lip. There's $1 million. We're good.
But if you have a chance to go back and watch the original Rocky, to watch the original Rambo, First Blood, like there is a lot of genuine acting in those movies.
The first
writing.
Rocky,
he wrote Rocky.
Yeah.
He won the Academy Award for writing Rocky.
Yeah. The first Rambo movie is so like if you're like me, I came into Rambo on like Rambo 2 and Rambo
when it's already like this the irreverent action movie.
It was just an action movie. And then if you go back and watch the first one, it's not an action movie. It's a freaking drama about a man with horrific PTSD. And it's like very like much a downer.
Yeah, it's very much a down. And
fun fact, that movie was supposed to end with Rambo's suicide.
Yeah, it was a lot darker in its first drafts.
Yeah.
So anyway, Seitan runs off to help civilians, which Don and I explored in our original run-through of this, that it was literally just Seitan picking the easiest goddamn thing he could do, and also being like, I'm going to be away.
Yeah.
So you guys, you do what you need to do. Where are you going? Somewhere.
Over here.
Don't worry. Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't make me horrifically mangle your psyche like I did Yui's. All right. You ever seen that woman smile? Yeah.
Have you ever heard my daughter talk? That's what I thought.
I am a bad person.
What I'm trying to say is, I'm awful.
So,
he runs off to his whatever crap.
So this is actually one of the silliest things. When I was a kid, I didn't even notice this, but as an adult, it's horrible. Ellie's squad sees Faye.
Yes,
and they're
like,
going to do it.
That guy.
And Rank actually has a moment where he says, "I'm going to kick his butt." Any objection?
Any objections?
Imagine being in the middle of a war, a literal war. Like you're doing a Vietnam style, like Agent Orange leveling entire city, and you're like, I'm going to kick his butt.
That guy embarrassed me twice before. Third time's the charm. Am I right, guys?
By the way, we're not being PG. Like he literally says, I'm going to kick his butt.
Any objections? That's what he says to his commanding officer. Frickin', it's so.
That's why he said. That's why he's. Oh, it makes sense. He said that because it's disarming. She didn't have time to react. She's like, did he just? Was that a grown man just saying he's going to kick someone's butt?
What's really funny is like in that moment, Ellie's like, what? Like she's just like dots.
Oh
and
my
it's
God,
like,
that's what it is.
She was too stunned.
He didn't cuss because it's more disarming for him not to cuss. And as she's processing, he's already on his way to get his ass whooped by Faye. So
but yeah, it's so funny because like.
Yes, Faye indeed does the butt kicking.
Yes, and what's so good about it is like it doesn't help their case that they did the typical let's fight him one at a time. Like that's gonna help them any.
Rico immediately. So as a kid, I thought Rico was just being a big baby.
Yeah.
As an adult, I realize he's being a big baby with a specific flavor.
Yes.
He's the teenager that's too good for the town he was raised in because he had a bad experience in it. Because he sees Faye fighting, and then he looks at Citan helping people because apparently Citan was keeping up appearances for a moment in front
and even Hammer is helping people with Citan, which is probably why Citan's helping. There's a witness.
And it's dumb to help people. Why are you helping people?
Yeah, he's like, this town is crap, and then he has the breakthrough moment, and he's like, I'm crap too. Which is literally the line before he runs off screen. And I fucking love that too. It's so like
I love your notes here. Faye has to fight two at once, comma. Rico shows up to help. It's like
I was rewatching the footage that I recorded and just typing as fast and as furiously as I could to keep up with it, but also make it make some kind of sense. But yeah, like Rico shows up. We get after Faye's beat through most of the squad. We get a funny moment where Rico's like, Faye's like, oh, you're gonna fight? And Rico's like, I don't need a reason to fight people who piss me off. And then Faye's like, that sounds like a reason to me.
So Faye's kind of feeling himself.
Yeah,
this is a horrible situation.
But he's like coming alive. He's catty and it's like, it's so funny. Like, yeah, he's having like banter in the middle of whooping people's asses while an entire town gets bombarded. Not trying to say Faye's bad or anything. Like, Faye's been through some shit, and he's going to be going through some more shit. But like, he's having this weird moment.
But as an adult playing, I don't remember what I thought as a kid. But as an adult playing, I really feel as though. Sorry, I had a little bit of a beer burp there.
Yeah.
I really feel as though he's finding a purpose.
Yes.
I feel like he's finding it. He doesn't know. You know what? I don't know who I am. Yeah. I don't know anything about my past. But I'm starting to feel like there's a future.
Yeah. I feel like this is a case where like what really is going on is there is a clear, defined reason. So like Faye has this he's gone on and on over and over again about how he does not like fighting. He does not like gears. He doesn't like all this violent stuff, right? But I feel like in this moment, it's like you said, he's got a purpose because there is a clearly defined line of what is bad and what is the victim, right?
Right.
There are no questions here. There are innocent people being killed by an air raid. And it's such a clear-cut line for him.
And he doesn't realize it's because of him.
Yeah,
he doesn't know that at the moment.
Yeah, he doesn't have any clue. It's just happening because they're at war. It's a war.
Right.
You know? But it's such a good, clear line for him that he's able to overcome that aversion to violence because he knows I can help these people. Which
it's his aversion to violence that's
causing
him do
this.
this.
Yeah. And as a kid, I never even acknowledged that there was like a gear shift in his personality here. I was just like, woo, we're fighting. Like, yeah, I feel like I was just psyched that Faye was actually like geared up for
I think on some level we did though.
Yeah,
I think on some level we did. And
yeah, definitely.
That was what was interesting about Xenogears. The characters aren't motivated by like, I just want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They're motivated, I want to do the right thing because.
Yeah.
And it was really the first fiction I ever encountered that was like that. Because, you know, I guess we had the Marvel cartoons growing up and stuff like that, but those didn't really.
No, because like the Marvel cartoons were very much a typical like, well, kind of like just a typical American comic thing, whereas at the time especially, and at the time these characters were created, the heroes were the heroes because they were the heroes. The villains were the villains because they were the villains.
Right.
Like, there was no.
They had reasons, but these reasons were kind of a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yeah. There wasn't a real depth to it. It was just like Peter Parker lost Uncle Ben, and he was told, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, and therefore I now have spider powers. I have to be a hero. Right. And that was the end of it. Right. At least way back then. They've explored it thankfully now, but like
missed the part where that's my problem.
Yeah. But like you know, all the characters are like that, and that's what I was used to. Like Superman was a hero just because he was a hero. That's just all there was to it. You know, he was not the bad guy. But with like Xenogears and a lot of Japanese media, Japanese media was the first I ever encountered this in, and I have thankfully encountered it in American media since. But where like
I think because of the influence of Japanese media,
I think
honestly.
so as well. I think so as well. But where characters are going to be, characters, they may be a hero, because they want to do good, but they might also be a hero just circumstantially. Like there's like their motivations are so much more like varied in that like Faye in this moment. It's very clear that he's going to be the hero of the situation, and his motivation is very clearly like, I'm going to be the hero because he's wanting to save innocent lives.
Right, but he's been grasping for a purpose this whole time, and he's coming to terms with this. And we don't know much about Faye's past, but I think there's an overreaching thing, and I think Faye's starting to get a feeling that his fate is tied up in all this.
Yes.
We're getting enough to know that. We don't know exactly how, but
there has to be a reason.
This Groff guy's obviously after him.
Yes, and he keeps showing up, and these things keep happening over and over and over again.
This
Wise Man.
Twice, Wise Man shown up, just happened to show up where Faye was, expecting Faye.
Yeah. Totally knowing where he was somehow.
But so this is anyway, this is interesting. They finally get to Ellie.
Yeah. Faye looks at her, and he just says,
Rico goes on ahead with that. Because Faye's like, I'll handle this.
Yeah, Faye's like, go on ahead for me, and Rico's like, what the hell? And Faye's like, please, just go.
Look, hey, listen, I need this.
I need this for me.
The space Coast. Marriage is about compromise, all right? Compromising your future to the City Council of Bethesda, Maryland. It's about hiding in the gazebo out back and not going in until you're sure all the lights are completely off.
Like, I missed that
He was married to Bjork.
Oh, God. No wonder he was upset.
I love Bjork.
I have nothing against her. Faye tells Rico go ahead. He leaves. And then Faye immediately starts talking with Ellie, and he is 100% on the offensive here. And he's like, what the hell happened, Ellie? I thought you promised to leave the military.
I actually don't remember her promising that.
Neither do I. But
this sounds like I think he's taking a page out of Satan's book. Yeah. I can't believe you broke your promise, the one you totally made. You don't remember that? Wow, how awful!
How awful!
You're not even remembering your promises.
Was it because of the drive?
Oh my God! You're a junkie, Ellie. That's all you are.
He's like, you promised to leave. Ellie's like, she's like, you don't get it. You just don't understand the situation. And Faye just keeps laying into her about how
it's weird because as a child, everything's black and white, right?
Yeah.
When you're a kid, and I remember just being like, yeah, Faye, you tell her. Stupid bitch. She doesn't know. She doesn't understand. She just walk away from literally everything.
Yeah. That's definitely not a concept you get until you're an adult.
As an adult, you absolutely understand the concept of like, this person's stuck.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Because I'm pretty sure all of us at some point or another, once we've hit at, I would say 25, we've had that feeling.
Yes.
Where
you feel
you're trapped.
There's no choice. In all honesty, there's a lot of times in your life where that's not a completely unreasonable feeling.
No, it's really
not.
Especially with current economic conditions.
Absolutely, yes. I love this. You know what, Faye? You've got it good. You know, you don't, because this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
And this, as a kid, it just looks like mindless bickering. But like as an adult, like you really feel this because this is exactly what people do.
What's funny is it is mindless bickering, and that's why it's so
what I
real.
mean, right?
Yeah, it's why it's so real.
It's like you can't possibly understand me. Basically like when you get this deep in like an emotional argument, you really have the whole like, my feelings are real. I feel them. I don't feel yours. You're lying about your feelings.
It becomes
that
like
whole
a
thing.
Yeah,
because
Faye, he's like, do you like killing people like this? And then Illie's like, she's like, oh, you just have it so freaking good.
Yeah,
you get to choose where you go. You have a place to call your own. I don't have that. She like really lays into him about this idea of like, she has nothing. She has no choices. He has a choice. And because he has a choice, he gets to stand there on his high horse, yelling at her about what she should be doing when she can't do anything. And then Faye doing basically the same thing.
They're both.
Yeah, he's like, Bart's gone. He's like, I don't have a place to go to. Bart could be dead.
Which is a good point, but at the same time, they're basically both just, they're like,
venting.
oh, you got it bad. I got it bad.
They're both venting out all their frustrations, and it just, unfortunately, is at each other at the moment.
And guess what, Dominia?
What happens there is Faye grabs Ellie. He drags her gear to the ground and makes her look at the burning town. They have their conversation, and he's like, you know what? Later, I'm going to go beat this bitch. And Ellie's like, you are not going to win that fight. You do not know what she is. She's an element, Faye. And he's like, I don't know what that is. I'm going to go kick her ass.
the king of the, no offense, but he's from Oklahoma.
No offense, but she's from Solaris.
So,
but you go,
which is funny because if anyone had any idea who Faye was, it would be Dominia they were worried about.
I know, right?
So
you get into a fight with her and Rico. It is annoying, to say the least, because she keeps summoning her ether blasters. That's all she does.
It's not a fun fight
and
at all.
Although it's a super easily cheesed one.
Yes.
If you put 2 beam coats on your gear, you negate all of her damage.
There's a lot of fights on the first disc where a couple of beam coats.
Yeah, you can cheese it.
Yeah.
There's like one fight that if you put a couple, I don't know what the part is, but it reduces electrical damage.
Mm-hmm.
You slap 2 of those on your gear, the boss can't hurt you.
So,
but you beat her, which is good. It's also terrible because now the literal bomb ship is on a crash course for the ground.
Yeah, apparently an order was given just to kamikaze it.
Pretty much. And
so, Faye, Rico, and then later Ellie all Segata Sanchiro, like the last commercial. They
do the only reasonable thing, try and catch it.
But
yeah, they all decide we're gonna push it, and if we can push it long enough, it'll go off course.
Right, they're not trying to push it back; they're just trying to knock it off course.
That's one thing that's really cool about Xenogears 2 is they really grounded what gears are capable of for the most part.
Yeah,
and because other things, you'd have a giant robot, and if you really believe hard enough, you can push this Empire skyscraper, like this Empire State Building skyscraper-sized object away from a city. Mm-hmm. It's cool. You can do that.
Yeah.
Because it's made of a special metal. Actually, I shouldn't knock Gundam for that because there's only like 2 Gundam series where that was that over the top.
Right.
But no, in this, they make a big point. They can't do it. Their gears can't do that.
Right.
But they can just change its course and minimize damage, and that's all they're trying to do. So Faye and Rico do that. They start to overheat, and right about then, Illy shows up, and she's like, I got this. They all push it aside. Faye and Rico have to fall off because they overheat.
Their gears overheat.
Illy keeps pushing because Illy is trying to make up for her past sins in a way. Mm-hmm. And she's like, nah, my gear is from Solaris. It can handle a lot more in this. It's fine. Oh, it died. And it's like, so I forgot exactly how emotional. Like, obviously we're joking a lot. This is a very emotional scene.
Right. Absolutely.
I actually was tearing up. I knew for a fact that what they were implying here was not going to happen, which is Illy's going to die. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that isn't going to happen, but I was tearing up because I was feeling it. Mm-hmm. But her gear like just shuts down from overheating. She's trapped in the path of the bomb ship, and there's this big thing where she's like, it's fine, it's cool. She's completely accepted her death because she managed to do one good thing, right? Yep. Faye's losing his shit because he can't save Ellie, and he has to watch her die. And it's like, it's all this slow motion, and it really grabs you by the short and curlies. Mm-hmm. And right as the explosion is getting ready to happen, though, and we think Ellie's going to die, the weirdest freaking thing happens. This odd gear that we've seen a few times shows up, and weirdly enough, it's not standing there with its arms crossed with a little man on its shoulder this time, but it zooms in like a freaking comet, and just casually throws a wing over Ellie and shields her from the destruction of a nuclear bomb, basically capable of wiping out a city.
Right.
But it's Graf. Like, anyone who's played this game, you recognize that gear. And now we gotta ask the question: why do you save Ellie?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me?
But yeah, he saves her.
Yeah,
and
he just zooms in out of nowhere, and then apparently he immediately pieces out before anyone can find him because the next thing Illy knows is Faye is carrying her gear, and he is just weeping basically because she's alive, and they had this really touching moment where he's like, I hate doing this, and we've said we hate doing this, but I have this parallel to Evangelion. And it's the scene where Rei basically tries to sacrifice herself for Shinji, and Shinji is crying over her, and he's like, "Don't you ever do that again." You know. But this is it's a similar vibe in that Faye is just so damn happy that she's alive, but he doesn't know how to handle these emotions, so he's just like, "You're so stupid. Why would you do that?" And Illy's just like, "Are you crying right now?" And he's like, "Shut up. You're dumb. I'm so mad. I'm so fucking happy you're alive." And she's just like, "I'm sorry." And it's just this beautiful moment. And as a child, even as a child, I could understand the import of it.
Absolutely.
But like at the same time, I was 12. I did not have emotions for girls.
Right.
I had not the emotional depth for this yet. So I was just like, why is he crying? Like, I guess I get it. I got mad when my dog ran away once and came back, so I guess it's the same thing. But after that, though,
I love this part coming up. I love this part. So apparently that knock wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
Because you meet up at the doctor's
It's the
house.
exact thing I thought when I played it, and I was like, oh, I guess that's why they had the secret knock.
Anyway, they're planning how to escape, and they're going to steal the Goliath, this super experimental thing that the Kaiser's got under wraps. And it's mostly Hammer's idea.
Yeah, and Hammer, he gets all the info to figure out how they can do it.
This is something I forgot about even from my most recent playthrough. He tells Ellie a secret.
Yes, yeah. Before you get the chance to leave, he's like, "Hey guys, hold on, I have to tell Ellie something." And I think even Satan is like, "What?"
Yeah, Satan's kind of like, "What? Like, listen, bud, I do the plotting.
I'm the
here.
secret guy."
Yeah.
And then he pulls Ellie aside. The screen they go so far as to black out the screen to really like hype up the suspicion for the player. And then it comes back on. And Hammer's like, "Okay, we can go." And Ellie doesn't say anything.
It's weird. It's really
very
weird scene. But I love this part. And I'm going to read the note verbatim.
Oh, God.
Rico gave Hammer a message saying he wouldn't help them. like Rico's like, "Hammer, tell them something for me." What? I'm not going to help
I'm not
them.
helping you.
But anyway, we immediately get the sense, and this is something I even noticed as a kid, all of that sacrifice that they did was thankless.
Yes.
Nobody realizes they were the ones who saved the city.
Yeah, because now the entirety of the Keslev military is out for blood for them. They're all fugitives. Faye has been stripped of his battling champion status. It's like shoot on sight orders.
Right.
And it's very weird because like this is one of those few moments where if you get near a guard, you get like a cutscene. You basically have to run away.
Right.
But you have very limited choices here before you continue the story. About the only thing you can do is if you got scanned by Big Joe, you can go get the M disc and put it into the Wildcats jukebox. It lets you play the different soundtracks of the game, like the sad music versus the sleepy music from the inn, and stuff like that, which is really dope.
Something extremely interesting that Joe tells you too.
Yeah. When we run into him here in a minute, because you
do this little soldier fight first.
Yeah,
it's
it's no. Well, you don't even get to fight him because Rico then shows up and murders them. He murders them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's just funny because like
Rico shows up and he does help.
Yeah, he changed his mind apparently. He'll help you get out of the town, but after that you're on your own. Even though he goes with you,
the goalpost continually moves several yards further.
He is the game's Vegeta. And he's a good guy because of it. You get through that. You get to the world map and you see Joe chilling on the world map. And if you go and talk to him, Faye remembers him because he wants his freaking money back.
Right.
And Joe's like, he's like, "Go back. I got you something."
And his speech is really like, hey.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Let's chill a minute.
Like every other time we run into Joe, his personality's different. The first time we meet him, he's like a drunk. Yeah. And then he's like this like womanizer in a fight. And then he's like this sneaky lowlife who like rips you off. And now he's a hippie. But it's so weird because I did not remember this.
I don't remember this from any of my playthroughs either. I never made this connection that you made.
Yeah, The thing he tells you is he repeatedly tells Faye to be like the ocean, the deepest ocean. Now, and pause that
so
thought.
important.
Yeah, pause that thought for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. But you get out of there, you run north, real cool, whatever.
You get to the secret base.
You get into the base. There's a store where you can update stuff because Hammer stole a freaking repair gear somehow.
Right.
Because of reasons. Hammer's that's what he does. He does everything. You fight your way through. It's a very straightforward dungeon.
It's not a very
It's not
special
hard.
dungeon at all,
There are a couple points that can be a little annoying because of the mechanics. Sometimes mechanics spawn with the gear bosses or the gear enemies, and they'll repair them as you fight. Drags out the fight. Real pain in the butt. But you get to the end. You fight this big dorky looking gear, which is extra annoying because it hits hard, and mechanics, like 5 mechanics show up and will heal it for like 200 HP a piece. Very annoying. But whatever. You get through it. It's not that big of a deal. You get onto the Goliath. Goliath is pretty cool. That real quick funny moment where Citan's like, well, I guess I'll figure out if I can fly this. And Faye's like, Doc, are you able to do this? And Citan's like, what? Did you expect us to get out of here without knowing how to fly this thing? And you're like, dang, Citan, calm it down.
Well, it's funny because basically someone's like, hey, this is legitimate. I legitimately have a reason to be suspicious of you. And he's like, yes, but you need this particular ability at this moment, so dismiss
don't question it.
Yeah.
Yes. You launch. Everything's great. It's wonderful. And then it's not because our good old buddy Graf shows up again.
And there's almost the William Shatner Twilight Zone thing.
Yes.
There's something on the wing. Thing.
Once again, though, Faye has a weird moment. No hesitation. Bolts out the door to go confront him. Faye's gung-ho right now.
Right.
Bolts out the door. You have a conversation. It's kind of the typical thing.
It's kind of typical as to what we've seen. Grof's like, things you don't know. Things you don't know. Things you don't know. Faye's like, I don't know these things. Grof's like, ha, 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 ha.
Of course you don't. Let me test your power.
Bottom line, brass tacks, end of the day, power. Let's talk power. Again, he is Tim the Toolman Taylor.
He's the dark version. He's the mirror universe version of Tim.
Actually,
Tim
I think
Allen.
he's a slightly good version.
He probably actually cares about his wife over his car.
What horror and terror can there be in the world that can compare to Tim the Toolman? Every time I play this game now, I'm just going to see Groff and be like,
I mean, he basically makes that noise. You get into a fight with him. This fight is a bitch because the first thing he does is a super guided shot, which is just like Faye's ability, only way better.
All of his abilities, everything about him is an upgrade of Faye.
Yes.
And no one questions this. Well,
No.
I mean, now we have this. As Wise Man said, there's a similar training. So there.
Yeah. So all same school, but still.
As a kid, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But as an adult, even subtract that you already know from being a kid, from your first playthrough. But it just seems there's something fishy.
It's just weird that they all have the same fighting style.
It's too convenient of an explanation.
And thankfully it isn't, though, in the end. But right now, it just seems weird.
But yeah.
He does the super guide shot, halves your health instantly. Weird thing, though, is he refuses to hit Ellie at all. He won't touch her.
That's right. And that's not something. And it's not something the game tells you.
No,
he's not gonna. It's just you notice it.
I
didn't notice it when I was a kid, but I know as an adult.
Yeah.
You're like, he won't.
I noticed it on my second playthrough.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, he's not hitting Ellie. That's weird. But
he saved her just
momentarily. Yeah. So it's really
huge.
Weird. But you do beat him, and then he gives you a compliment.
He compliments you on being able to draw more of your power. He's like, you know what? There's a few things in this world I respect. Gonna shock you. I don't know if you see this coming, but one of them, power. So I want to
capital
compliment.
P, capital O, hour.
My favorite song, that one that goes, I've got the power.
I think the dialogue actually is, he's like, I compliment on your being able to draw out more of your power. It's like, bro. But then, my favorite thing is Citan apparently he's inside playing Beau's favorite game, Star Fox, because the first thing he thinks to do is do a barrel roll and launches Groff off the freaking Goliath.
So then this is interesting because this is something I don't remember from either of my playthrough. But they're like, man, this is deja vu.
Yeah. It's so
something feels familiar about this.
When they all get back in, Faye is talking to Citan, and Citan's like, he's like, I got this or no, Faye's like, he's like, I got this weird feeling. It's just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, I don't know. This just seems so familiar. And Saiten's like, you're having deja vu too? Like, you're feeling this too? That's so weird. Why are we feeling this?
Now, what's important about this is it feels so serious.
Yeah.
It feels so serious. And the next thing we see,
if we get the telescope view of the Goliath, we get some people, no names, talking. Oh, there's a ship. It's up there. It's moving at this many knots. Blah blah blah.
This is before voice acting, so we don't know who these people are. These are dialogue boxes.
They're just nameless dialogue bosses, and then it comes away from there, and it's our good old buddy Bart.
And Bart.
He's up to his old tricks. That's what he is.
This thing flew away from Kislev. He knows that much. So he's like, you know what?
And it's obviously going to go bomb at Abe.
Listen, every time I've shot down a Kislev vehicle before, something good's come of it. Met my best friend.
Yeah.
Because I shot down a Kislev vehicle.
I miss my best friend.
What we're gonna so what we're gonna do?
I miss him.
What we're gonna like. So anyway, if we're my best friend on that ship, he'd be feeling some deja vu.
Yeah.
He'd be feeling.
But I know he isn't. So you know what we're gonna do? Launch the Bart missiles.
No, hey, this is important. Because doesn't Sigurd even be like, do we need to call
the first thing that happens is Mason runs in, he's like, young master, no way, you can't, why, don't be so rash. And then Sigurd runs in and he literally is like, not again. And then Bart's like, prepare the Bart missiles. And then I think it's Sigurd, not Mason, but they're like, what? You need permission from half the crew to launch those. You can't do this. And Bart's like, readying up. Here we go.
Because it's just implied that half the crew's like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. And so Bart launches the Bart missile, and then it cuts back to, I didn't put this in the notes, but it cuts back to Faye and all them. Mm-hmm. And Faye's like, are we gonna be okay? And Saiten's like, dude, look, this is Keslev's pride. It is their ultimate weapon. Mm-hmm. There's not. I intentionally flew us over the ocean because there's nothing out here. Mm-hmm. And even if there was something out here, this is a super weapon. Nothing's gonna blow up a super weapon. It immediately starts to crash.
No, it would have been better if they would have been like, look, the only thing I can think of that would defeat a super weapon is a Bart missile, and that's Bart.
That's all Bart. So they get hit from it. They're going down. Mm-hmm. Saiten's like, everyone go. I'll keep us up as long as we can. Mm-hmm. Get out while you can.
An odd moment of self-sacrifice.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Which tells us we know it, But it's weird that he did that. Although, maybe it is, because for all we know, Saiten's research into the mystery that is Faye is more important than even his life. I'd believe almost.
I would believe that.
But yeah, he tells them all to leave, and then he notices, he's like, it's that ship? And then we get this moment, it's so funny, because his sprite turns halfway away from the camera, completely, and then does the slow turn into the thinking pose that Saiten does, and he's just like, Sigurd, you need to rethink your methods of discipline.
I like that, for all intents and purposes, he believes he's going to die right now, but he's like, I'm
still going to get one in.
Doggone it. Anyway, so...
we get a hard cut there.
Yes, a very hard cut.
Yes, and we get to meet back up with our good old buddy Ramses. Mm-hmm. And Ramses is getting a report on his bridge about how there is a dimensional vibration. That's the specific wordage they use there, whatever that means.
Right.
And they have confirmed it has to be a gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what a gatekeeper is? No.
But apparently the Goliath was one.
Apparently it was one of them, and it blew up, and that caused dimensional problems, which sounds terrifying.
So guess who shows up to talk to Ramses?
Somehow he flew halfway across the whole planet in an instant, and it's Gareth.
Yep, he. You pronounce that name differently every single time you speak it.
Single time. I call him Graf.
Groff.
I call him Groff. I call him Gareth. One of these times, I'm going to call him Jared.
Mike shows up.
One of these times, I might even call him Lacan. I don't know.
Well, let's just call him by his real name, Tim the Toolman Taylor. So anyway, Tim the Toolman Taylor shows up.
There's the meme.
And tells Ramses, he says, "Hey, guess who's on that ship?"
Yeah,
him.
That guy. And Ramses is like, "You kidding me? He's over there." He's over there.
So Ramses immediately just no
questions asked.
No questions. He doesn't hand off command.
No, he's like,
he doesn't do
ship.
anything. He just goes and launches a ship.
Yeah, and even Miang is like, dude, no, you can't do that. We're supposed to stay here. And Ramses is like, shut the hell up. we're going. And Miang just walks off the bridge. Like, there's no, like, weird banter of her being like, oh, come on, baby, it's fine. No, she just, like, is like, all right, whatever, bitch, and, like, leaves.
Yeah.
Graf, see?
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Tim shows up in the hallway and starts talking to Miang. And
so they obviously have a relationship. We've seen
way
this
more
a
than
lot.
we know of, too.
So,
But
a lot is unloaded in this tiny little conversation.
Yeah, because it's very short, but there's a lot of stuff we don't know, such as, like, he tells her, look, once again, your tricks aren't going to work. And she's like,
so
didn't I help you? I helped you out, bro.
So here's the thing. Yeah, he keeps accusing her of manipulating him.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that happen. So it's implied that it's in the past.
Yeah.
This happened before the game started.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all... when you're a kid reading this stuff in Xenogears, it's just confusing, period.
It's straight up, yeah.
It's confusing as an adult, but when you're a kid, it's just confusing, period. When you're an adult, it's confusing for the reasons it's supposed to be. It was written to be confusing for, which is...
Yeah, as a kid, I just thought I had to have missed something.
Yes.
Because, like, this whole conversation does not make sense.
But as an adult, you're kind of able to piece these things together.
Yeah.
And Miang says, didn't I help you take your shackles off?
Yeah. And, like, what the hell does that even mean?
Right. What does that mean?
And then she goes on to say, is like, now you know the vessel, quote, will only respond to the chosen one. Again, what does that mean?
That's huge, by the way.
Ginormous.
That's gigantic.
Yes.
And that's actually until now, I haven't fully understood how big that is.
Yeah.
Like, until, like, this moment of talking about it with you. Like, man.
Yeah.
Like,
that's humongous.
It implies that... forgive us for a moment, but I have to talk about this with Aaron. It implies that when she took him to that in the past, she knew it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It implies that she did that on... She's like... Because...
Well, I mean... Again, screw you guys.
Sorry, guys.
Screw you guys. We got to talk for a second.
Listen, here at Donorum, we hate the listener.
Yeah.
All right?
Don't you listen to this.
Except for you, Mr. Metal.
Yes,
we love
Mr.
you.
Metal. I'm just telling you, we're on the up and up on the OSHA thing right now. You and I talked about this before. I promise, all OSHA followed.
If you want to know what's going on there, join our Discord. There's a link at the bottom. Get to know us a little better.
We have a whole channel dedicated to OSHA guidelines. Not really, but we should
are.
now.
Oh my gosh, there should be. Adam, make an OSHA channel.
Yeah,
in the
forklift channel.
An OSHA whistleblower channel where we could just. We just go and talk about the violations.
Tell the
in our
horror
workplace.
stories, like tell the horrible things people do violating OSHA, but it's normal because that's what you gotta do to do the job.
Right, the guy with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth, standing on the forks that are being raised on the fork truck so he can get to a higher position.
This is the easiest way to get up to this top shelf.
You ain't supposed to do this, but this is what we do around here.
They won't teach you this in training. Now, don't tell anybody I showed you this, but that's my favorite line whenever you meet the grizzled old employee is, don't tell anybody I showed you this.
Yeah,
but.
yeah.
Because you're always getting ready to be showed something that will get you fired. But one thing I was gonna say, disregarding the viewer really quick too, about what you said is like, yeah, because if you really think about it, it's very, very heavily implied, like the more clues you uncover, that she has been manipulating a lot,
which is obvious, but
it's bigger than bigger than you ever think to know.
It's done more well.
Yeah,
it's done more well. It's done better than you remember. So anyway, he is the reason.
Yeah,
Car exists.
Yeah, again, like, what's funny is we're reading this basically from my notes, but I verbatim this. There is no explanation of this. But she's like, they don't know this, but he's necessary for Car. He's the reason for Car's existence. Car is Ramses, just in case you forgot his first name.
Car on Ramses.
What does that mean? Again, no freaking clue yet. No clue whatsoever.
And so then she says, "Who? Thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
But who did you do it for? Her? Him? Or yourself?"
Yeah.
And he turns around and says, "For power."
Yeah, he's like, for power.
He doesn't say that.
No, he just pieces out.
He just leaves. Because he's got to go work on his hot rod while Jill wants to go to a ballet.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, we get.
If you've never seen Home Improvement, by the way, don't go watch it. Kind of sucks.
No, watch compilations. You'll get the good parts.
Yeah, just watch the scenes where he's talking to Wilson.
Yeah, watch the Wilson
you don't really need
compilation.
you don't really need the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
I do like Al though.
Al's funny,
I do like Al.
because Al is the only reasonable person.
Who
on the
is
show.
Al? If Groff is Tim the Toolman and Taylor, who? Oh my
Wise
God,
Man?
Miang's Al.
Miang is?
Miang. I don't think so, Groff.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah, definitely. Wise Man's probably more of a Wilson.
You know who loves OSHA? Al Borland. Like, that guy was all about it.
I mean, that's literally his entire character is
I
trying to
love how
get Tim to follow OSHA
that
guidelines.
show is all about Tim making fun of Al, and Tim is literally injury ridden. There are jokes about his emergency room visits.
Yeah.
Like he
literally dies every episode.
Al is the more reasonable person out of the two of them, and Tim just like, who's stupid? He wears flannel.
Yeah.
Like,
Watch what happens whenever I put this V8 on my lawnmower.
Al's probably not the one selling cocaine on the streets of Detroit.
I mean, you're probably not wrong.
That is so wild.
Yeah, he went
Because
from
his
a coke
public
dealer.
image is just so opposite of that.
What's funny is, like, that's 100% because of Home Improvement, because his stand-up was raunchy as hell.
Was it really?
Yeah, his stand-up
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very similar to, rest in peace, Gilbert Godfrey. Gilbert Godfrey had a very much, everyone thought of him as like this family-friendly dude because he was Iago.
Disney. Yeah.
His stand-up is raunchy.
Yeah.
And Tim Allen was very similar, but then he got the gig on Home Improvement, and that was such a family-friendly comedy.
ABC, yeah.
And then that's what he got stuck with. And then he went on Buzz Lightyear and stuff. And he did the Santa Claus movies.
Ton of Disney movies. Yeah.
So his image got retroed. But when he started off, he was a dirty, filthy stand-up comedian like a lot of them.
Anyway, the big TV ball's been watching all of this.
Yeah.
And there's one of the strongest themes in this game. There's identity.
Yes.
There is power and what that means for you.
Yes.
What power actually is. There's the past, the present, and the future. And there's how much the TV ball hates Ramses.
Yes, and we get a big dose of it right now.
So as a child, this is all too much. At this point, this is all too much.
And it's intentionally broken.
Yes.
To where, like, they're talking... See, that's one thing that's great about Xenogears. It's annoying as hell when we were kids and we could not understand what was happening right now. But it's so wonderful because all these characters, they never are speaking for you. They're talking to each other.
It's
like
very
they
realistic.
Would. Yeah.
And another thing is it's all pieced together very, very well. There's a lot of the what the hell did I just play in the best sense of the word.
Yes.
There's a lot to digest and sit on after you're done with it, which is the best kind of storytelling.
Yes,
absolutely.
definitely.
So
100%.
So they're mad because he's going after the demon of Elru instead of just finding the anima relics. They're like, that's what we want you to do.
Yes.
That's what we made for. And then they're like, but he was on the Goliath. And they're like, I get why he's going after him.
Yeah.
I just don't want him to.
Yeah, one of them was like, oh, he's doing it because of the trauma. And the other one's like, nah, it's because of the scars.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. They're like, the memory cubes are showing that the people around him have the animus factor.
Yeah, whoever him is, that's what they mention. Him in quotations.
So it was very common in old JRPGs that the party is together for a reason.
Yes.
There's some cosmic alignment. And that's apparently going on here.
Yeah, something's drawing them together.
And one says, is it Sufradi? Subject of M Project. This is the first time we're going to hear about the M Project. The M Project becomes huge here in a few minutes.
Yeah. Another one answers yes.
They're attracted to him. And then they're like, it's the same as it was 500 years ago.
Yeah, it's developing into the same situation, they say. And that's another common theme that we're going to start learning more and more about slowly is some big shit went down 500 years ago, but it's still important today.
We can't rule out that he planned it.
Yeah.
He may, and again, these are all pronouns.
Yeah.
Lots of pronouns.
Yeah, lots of proper pronouns going on in this place when they shouldn't be proper at all.
But here comes some proper nouns.
Yeah. Real proper nouns.
The transfer point, whatever the fuck
Whatever
that
is.
is,
Yeah.
it's in Akave, near the Thames.
Yep.
And, if it's there, Krellion's headed
Krellion's
there,
gonna
buddy.
be there.
Whoever the fuck Krellion is.
And you know why he's going there? Found it.
Yep, and they found Zebawim's so these are a lot of proper nouns we haven't heard before. We have no point of reference for them.
This is another big info dump.
So apparently the Krellion has been not Krellion himself, but apparently they've been looking for Zebawim for 4,000 years.
Yeah, it's been lost for 4,000 years, and Emperor Cain shows up to confirm.
And I like it. He just, hey guys, what?
Yeah, he just like video conferences in, just like joins the call. And he's like, "Sup, bros?"
It's nanotech.
Yeah, nanomachine, son.
That's Senator Armstrong played college ball, you know. By the way, the guys did a really fun stream a couple of weekends back of that game. So if you have a chance to check that out, absolutely go and peep that. Next time they go, it seems like we're going to be doing streams very randomly.
Yeah.
So
at least at first.
Oh God, I can't believe I said that. We're going to be doing streams randomly. There are not
very
degrees
randomly.
of random.
It's either random or it's not.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So he shows up. He confirms that. Krellion's found nanotechnology there because of that, and that the capital this is the capital of that entire civilization's culture.
It's at the bottom of the ocean.
It's at the very bottom of the ocean.
The bottom of the deepest.
The deepest ocean. Yeah. We also learned that the ethos, which is starting to play a bigger and bigger role.
Yeah, we're starting to hear more about the ethos.
They kept this thing secret for 19 years.
Now, secret from who?
Yeah,
that's the big question.
Yeah, because we're not told specifically. We were just told they kept it a secret. And then one of the TV dudes says
19 years.
That coincides with the time the Earth shifted.
Now, again, at this point, as a child, you're just absolutely lost again.
Yeah.
But as an adult, you're like, everything's firing all cylinders.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, this is so good.
Yeah. And what I'm loving and hating at the same time is like there's every other one of these references they make, I'm like, I know what they're talking about. Then they drop one on me. I'm like, why do I not remember this? What is he meaning? And like, I've played this game like 20 times.
And I think the impact that this had on me lasting was that this is the way you write mysteriously. This is the way you do this.
Yeah. Because you don't have to hold the hand and you don't have to try and be obtuse.
You don't have to... Look, if you guys... I know I dog on this shit all the time, but if you guys like it, that's fine. It's not wrong. But you don't have to do it, oh, no, he didn't, to get me to tune in next week. You can lay crumbs that gets the gears turning in my head that makes me want to understand this complex plot you're writing even further. You don't have to have someone stab someone for seemingly no reason and then scramble to make up a reason next week.
Because you got to cover your butt.
Have to fucking do that. It's fine. You can write intelligently. It's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's okay.
And it's better that way. I mean, it really is. That's why some of the most intelligent writing that humanity has created thus far is considered the classics.
So anyway, Cain bothers to explain all this only for the ministry to be like, man, listen to me and listen to me good. Fuck nanotechnology.
We do not care. And it's so funny because at that point, Cain is just like, all right, well, are you guys going to eliminate it? Quotations. It is in quotations. So that maybe that's nanotech. Maybe that's something else.
Your notes, you seem to believe it might be Ignis.
Well, I kind of did a shorthand right there. What one of the TV dudes says is something along the lines of, yes, it is most likely in Ignis.
Oh, of course.
Whatever that means. And then another one of them is, because almost every one of these bullet points I put in my notes is a different TV dude talking.
Right.
But a different TV dude, like Red TV dude, is like, we didn't think it'd be quotation, would be eliminated that easily. And then they just stopped talking about it.
Because someone just randomly like, we're not going to fail another purge.
Yeah.
Not going to do it.
Yeah, like Blue, the angry one, is like, that first purge, that failed. That ain't happening again. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Because we're going to have all the animus all together.
And
then they're like, you know what? Why the fuck do you care about this anyway, Ken?
Yeah, why do you care about, quote...
insignificant to you?
Yeah, why do you care about, quote, him? Because he is insignificant to us. Which is weird because I feel like whoever he is, that's some big talk from these TV guys.
There, obviously, he is referring to more than one person at this point.
Yeah.
They haven't been the same through the course of this conversation. It hasn't been the same he they're talking about.
But they say that to him, and then a different one is like, it could only be poison to us, not a remedy. Which they don't give. Again, they don't give any explanation what they're talking about. And then they're talking to Kane about this. And they're like, why do you care about this? It couldn't be a remedy to us. That's poison to us. And then I don't know how to say this right because I don't know how to say anything right. Annabelle,
Analb, maybe.
They're like, you don't still believe in that, do you? And then everyone's like, it's an illusion, not an ideal.
They're like I have a feeling like Kane at this point is just like, oh my god, like
what's funny is like,
can one guy be the spokesman? Like,
what's funny is like Kane's just sitting there. Like there's no emotion to it, obviously, because there's no like voice acting. The pictures aren't animated. Yeah. We just get the static picture of his portrait art and ... But there's like so much emotion in that because he's just sitting there going, they realize I'm the fucking emperor, right?
Well, no, I just get the image of like he's like thinking like, you know, did those eggs go bad? I should probably like.
I feel like I'm going to electrocute these guys at some point.
Anyway,
but they're like, then one of them's like, the result is what I am now. It is as you see it, and then another one is like. Or are you talking about the emotion you've forgotten? Because they're just like dogging on Kane.
Finally, one of them's like, Kane, we're gods.
Yeah, we're gods. And he's like, you guys are fucking insane is what you are. It's just so weird because like these dudes need a new Ram stick or something because they're not sharing enough between the personalities. I don't know what's going on here. But finally, we get away from all that confusing crap that's laying down the foundation of the story we're going to run into. And we see part of the Goliath floating in the ocean. And Ellie's on board. And she wakes up, and she's like, holy shit, what happened? She looks around. You get the controller for 3 seconds because she's panicking, wondering where Faye was.
Where Faye is.
Because Faye grabbed her to like help protect her. And then you find there's a hatch, and Faye jumps out of it. And Faye, again, is being weird. But he's being weird in a different way now.
Good mood.
Too good of a mood, and he's almost ignoring her. Because he comes out and he's like, man, that's not good. There's only 2 days worth. And she's like, 2 days of what? And he's like, huh? Oh, food. I guess I'll go catch some fish. I could probably catch some fish. And he like starts to walk off, and she's like, what about the others? Like, aren't you worried? And he's like, they're fine. And she's like, but Faye, and he's like, they're fine. I know they're fine. They're going to be okay. I'm going to catch some fish. Like, he's like 1,000.
Oh my God. Faye became a redneck. I ain't talking about problems, woman. It's fishing time. I'm going to go kick me some bass. Tell you what.
Pretty much, he's like, I don't have the emotional capacity to handle this, so I'm going to go catch a fish.
Yeah, I got the power stroke already started up through the... For those of you that don't know, by the way, because I didn't know this, full-size trucks, when they have a diesel engine in them, the diesel engine is there's a name for the engine.
It depends on what company it's with. Yeah.
And if it's Dodge, it's Cummins. If it's
Ford,
which is hilarious. Yeah. If it's Ford, it's Power Stroke, which is hilarious.
Which is also hilarious. And if it's Toyota Chevy, has Cummins now too. Fun fact.
Oh, they make a diesel Tundra?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. And it's a Cummins engine. And spelled the way you think, guys, just so you know.
And Chevy's Duramax because they didn't want to be funny.
Yeah, but they're GM. They're never funny.
But when people talk about these trucks, they call them the engine.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, I drive a Cummins.
Yeah.
I drive a. It's very common around here.
And they'll also specify which liter of it they drive too.
Yeah, because that's.
That's actually your redneck amongst rednecks. He won't say I drive a Power Stroke anymore. He's like, I drive 6.6. And he'll just assume that you know whatever motor that is.
That's like 6.6 liter.
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Yeah.
Yeah. So I drive 6.6, and you're like, oh. Okay. If you're like me and you prefer to play video games and watch anime, you're like, cool, dude. I just work at AutoZone right now. Leave me alone. Could you explain what
Don't tell those people you work at AutoZone, though.
Oh, my God. Well, the sad thing is I used to work at AutoZone. I had to deal with these jackasses coming in and be like, I need an alternator for a 350. Oh, all right, sir. What year is it? It don't matter. They're all the same. Sure. I have 400 alternators behind me. Pick one then, you piece of shit. Don't work in retail, folks. That's the message today.
Especially not here. Anyway, point is, nothing bad's going to happen because Faye was he's forced to work but he lives to fish.
Yes.
And so anyway,
yeah, he's in a weird denial, but it cuts away.
Sight and Hammer and Rico somehow wound up on the Yggdrasil.
Yep, they got
which
saved.
is probably a pretty good story.
Probably.
We'll never know.
No.
But
we're just told that they got picked up. Well, here's the thing. Everything we know about this is what Sighton tells Rico, right? Sighton tells them, we got rescued by these guys after we were shot down by a mysterious third party. Doesn't tell them who shot them down at all.
He knows, but
he knows damn well.
Yeah, he's like,
but he doesn't tell them anything. He's just like,
because you know
worry.
what, boys will be boys.
Yeah, it's fine.
You know, it's
fine.
They,
he only interfered with all my plans of getting Faye back to Abe into the main situation where I could emotionally traumatize him further and possibly unlock the secrets of my research. But it's fine. It's fine, Bart. But no, he tells him, hey, we got saved. It's cool. I know these guys. It's cool. Let's go talk to them. And you get free run of the ship. Weird moment. So like when we were in the Yggdrasil beforehand with Faye, you can just barge in and out of Margie's room all you want. Now you're playing as Sighton, leading Rico around. And if you try and go to Margie's room, Sighton's like, oh, this is a chick's room. We can't go in there. Sighton, what are you doing? What's happening here, buddy?
He's like, wait a minute. Maybe, perhaps, if I fake a moral objection to something, people will think I am moral.
Yes. Yes.
So then he's like,
strokes devilish mustache.
So yeah.
But you get free run of the ship, and then what you have to do
in the barracks.
Yeah. And then what you have to do is go talk to Bart. But that's not going to happen because I quit playing at this point. So you got to wait until next week to find out what Bart says.
So guys, everything's ramping up here. We're really going to get into the meat of how this affected us as adults because this was one work of literal literature. I really feel like literal literature
as opposed to fake literature.
I really feel like this I consider this literature, and it affected me the way you expect literature to.
Yeah,
and we're going to get to that. Most of that, so we're going to be having much more deep conversations about that.
Yes, yeah.
But it's necessary to get you guys this far into the narrative to where you understand that.
You got to understand what happened to understand what it did.
And there are certain things we could speak on beat for beat, like we have been. So, guys, if you're enjoying this, thank you so much. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think. But don't be hurtful.
Yeah,
don't be hurtful.
Please.
We have feelings.
Please.
Like, subscribe. If you want people to know about this, share it, please.
Yeah.
Click that bell.
Oh, God.
Like Adam gets so frustrated with me for being so aggressive towards YouTube. I can't stand it. Like, if you're watching us on YouTube, God bless you. I love that you're enjoying us this way. That's why we put it here.
Yeah.
We want people to be able to access it. It's just you guys know what I mean. The YouTube-y thing.
The call to actions. As they call them.
So they call them that.
Yes, whenever a YouTuber does the hit like, subscribe, comment below, and they do the whole like spiel. That the technical term for that is a call to action. Like, so if you ever like research like ways to grow, like to do YouTube-y stuff or to do anything social media, call to actions are really helpful because it gets your audience involved. Is the idea behind that. But it makes it sound really silly when you're just asking your friends to be like, hey, dude, leave me a comment. Yeah.
So, guys, anyway, we appreciate the hell out of you listening. Thank you so much. And until next time, stay safe out there.
Yeah, and we'll see you then. Yeah, and we'll see you then. Yeah, and we'll see you then.